Okay, so as you can see, I've liquid taped all the bus bars over here, and I've repositioned the copper connections. Now, the problem I have now is in order to solder the four copper cables, copper wires to the bus bar, you need a lot of heat. This is quite a lot of mass, and copper being thermally conductive, when you try to heat this, it takes a lot before you can solder it. So if I would try to solder this on, I'd start melting the plastics before I even get close to being hot enough to solder. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try and figure out a way of holding this together, take it off it, and solder this using a torch. So I'm going to put a tape here on these. And here. Hold this in position. I'm going to try to just put some solder over here to hold these together so I can dig this away. And I used my big 200-watt iron. So this iron gets quite hot, and it's a lot of mass on here. This is heavy steel. So I'm going to try and heat it just over here in the hopes of being able to solder this together. So I can heat up just one of the copper wires at a time. There you go. Let's hope that holds it. I'm going to put a little more on over here. Like that. So I'll let that cool off, and hopefully that'll hold it all together. I'll be able to take it off and then solder this together using a propane torch. Okay, so I have all the copper here on my brick I'm going to use to solder. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put a little bit of solder paste on here to help with the solder. So it's like the resin. So I'll put some in the back, and especially the back because there's a resin core in the solder that I use, but that won't get to the back side. And I'll do the same thing on here. There we go. That has to go with this. I'm going to use some rocks that I have so it won't move around. That. So I'm going to heat up, try and heat the bar more than the copper wire. Because I don't want the solder that I put to hold it together to come apart. So this takes a little while. Can't rush it. What I like to do is try and get a bit of solder there on there like a bead, and once that starts to melt, I'll know that it's ready. That should do it. we'll let that cool off and then we'll transfer that onto the battery. Alright, so let's see if anything shifted or if it still fits as it's supposed to. And yeah, it looks good. So look, all hasn't moved around at all. Okay, so any glue, to be able to make a good bond, it has to be the surfaces are better roughed up than if you leave it shiny. So I'm gonna just mark these here, and I'm gonna turn them around, and I'm gonna use my little grinder and grind this down a bit. Okay, to glue this, I'm going to be using Gorilla Glue. So this is the glue I use. Don't need much. Like that. Now Gorilla Glue requires moisture to stick on. So what I do is I'm going to wet this a bit. So I'm going to put this in position. And so I got a clamp set in position here. Now obviously this is the negative terminal, and on the other side I have the positive terminal. So very important that I don't use clamp it from positive to negative. Obviously I'll make it short. So I'm going to hold it from here. Now as you can see, on the other side it's on the piece of plywood. If I push this down, it's not going to quite reach. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a piece of wood like this. Put this here. And also that diminishes the chance that I cause a short circuit. So I'm going to go from wood to wood. So I just put this down. Let me zoom out a bit here. Squeeze this down. So this the Gorilla Glue makes the best bond if it's really well clamped on. So this is nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Oh, it must have shifted a bit. I'm not touching, so I'm gonna release the pressure. Push it back into position. I'll tighten it down. So there we go. So this is going to be bonding. It takes a couple of hours before this cures. But while we're doing that, I can actually solder these connectors. So again, I'm going to use my powerful iron. The little trick that I found is that if I wet the iron with some solder, it typically heats up much quicker. And there we go. So we got the negative terminal soldered up and connected. All we have to do now is let this glue set, and then I'll when this is cool I can ground it down, and I'll also put a little bit of liquid tape on there. And obviously I can't put a full piece of plywood here because of all the connections, but I will put two half pieces on both sides. That way it protects all the bus bars and reduces the chance of causing a short later on. So I guess technically this battery is functional here. I got both positive and negative terminals connected, so it could be used as it is, but I think what I want to do is I want to put some balance leads on it. So I guess that's the next step. I'm going to put balance leads to be able to verify the every group of cell is balanced one to the other. So let's let that set, and we'll move on to the next part in the next video.